think I'm ready to give this a go. Okay. My name is Lauren. I've lived in China for just over 3 years. I first moved here to Shanghai, and now I live in Beijing. I've been binge watching so many videos of Damon Dominique on YouTube, and I really, really love the style of video that he does that's a video essay. So here I am, like, citing my inspiration because one of my best friends, Brielle, is coming to China. She's coming to visit me, and I'm so excited for her to vacation here. We've been sending so many voice notes back and forth and explaining, like how to do everything we've been talking about, like visas and travel plans and itineraries and when she should come visit me. And I was like, you know what? I think a lot of people could benefit from this information because not everyone has someone that they can just voice note and explain everything. So we're going to talk about traveling in China, and I'm going to catch you up on all the things that she and I have been discussing. Okay, the first thing that happened was, of course, I talked to people about getting a visa. So depending on what country you're from, you probably need to have a travel tourist visa to come to China. And when my family came to visit me in 2018, they applied for a tourist visa. And I also have had a tourist visa. When I came in the summer of 2019, I had a tourist visa when I visited my friends again in Shanghai. So I have been through the process of getting a tourist visa. And the application process is similar to getting a work visa, honestly. So first of all, there's the government website that is like the China embassy in your country. And that's where you'll find like the most up-to-date information about everything that is required. When my family did the tourist visa, what was required is that you have to make an appointment at the embassy in the city that's nearest to you. And then you have the paperwork that you have to fill out. You need a very specific visa photo for your application. You need to hand in your passport. I believe that you needed your flight itinerary and also a hotel stay for the tourist visa. And you hand in all of your documents at your appointment, and then I think expect it to cost like over $100 Canadian. And then you get your tourist visa in your passport, and then you're ready to come. But there has been a lot of updates, especially in the past year, that there's a lot of countries right now that have tourist-free visas to China. And there's a couple different ones. So you got to check. So Brielle's from Australia, and they literally, as we were planning this trip, just updated the tourist-free visa for Australia. So lucky that she doesn't have to apply for a tourist visa or pay any extra money or anything. So it's so good. Because previously there was a transit visa, but what that meant was that
she would have had to come, fly to Beijing. This is when we were only in Beijing, couldn't have gone to Shanghai, only stay in Beijing, and then have a flight within the time frame, have a flight to a different country because your transit visa.
They just did a new one, which is, I think it's like a 15-day visa-free for tourists. So literally ideal. And I was like, yes. So then we were like, okay, we need to start planning our trip. So let's just talk about some of the things that you might want to think about when you are planning to visit. I think the biggest, most important thing that you need to think about when you're coming to visit China on vacation is to update your phone with some important apps. And you would think that the app I'm going to talk about first is WeChat. However, if you're just coming here on vacation, I don't know if you really need WeChat. I think you really, really need Alipay. So I have this article that I'm sending to Brielle, and I'll share it with you now too. It's just a China tours how-to on using Alipay for foreigners. So Alipay, this is also in the last, I think 2 years or so, that they've updated that makes it really easy to attach a foreign credit card to your Alipay so that you can use it to pay for everything. Because previously you had to have a Chinese bank card, or it was just like more difficult to make the app work for you. Okay, so you install Alipay on your phone. Register using an email address or a foreign phone number. So you can do this with your home phone number. And that's why you should do this before you come to China, because we'll talk a little bit about phones as well. And then, okay, what you need is you search for Tour Pass. And Tour Pass is how you can complete your details and load your funds. So it looks kind of like this. It's like this like prepaid card. And then it gives you this little how-to, which is so easy that you use Alipay you can pay for things, which comes up a QR code for you to pay, or some places you scan their code and pay. But it's super easy, really intuitive to use. And this kind of shows you on the home page. It's like mini apps inside of the Alipay app. And one of them, here it says Uber on it, but maybe that's because it's the foreign version. So it should, I don't know why it says Uber. On mine, it says Didi. And Didi is the Chinese version of Uber. And you can use that through Alipay, which is just so simple and so nice. So that's kind of like the two main things that you would want to have is Didi to get a car and Alipay to pay for things. How great. Oh, the other thing that's on Alipay is you can click transit, like the bus. Where is it? Click the bus icon, and you just want to make sure that it has the city that you're in at the top of it, because when I first clicked on it, it said like Hangzhou or something, and I was like, well, I'm not in Hangzhou, so this is not the right QR code to get on the subway. But also for subway, so you don't have to buy your own subway ticket every time you go on the metro. You can just open Alipay subway and do it, and so it's access for tourists, which is so nice. The other thing that I really want to remind you to download is Google Translate. So you have Google Translate downloaded on your phone, and then there's like a little button that you want to click that's download for offline use. It's within the app, and you want to have that in case you are like keeping your plane on, or your phone is like on airplane mode, or if just so that it's just easier to use. And maybe some people don't realize how amazing Google Translate is. So if you go to a restaurant and there's a menu that's all in Chinese, you can just take a picture of it, and then the picture will just translate. So all of the words will show you what they are in English. It's so good. You can also do speech. So if you're talking to someone and you want to just really quickly talk and then it translates, you guys can go back and forth. Super convenient, very helpful. I think one of the most difficult things about traveling in China is communication. And Google Translate really helps with that. You don't need to be able to speak Chinese to get by, but just know that a lot of the people that you'll come across will not speak English. So because you want to use Alipay on your phone, let's talk a little bit about your phone. So one of the options you can do is you can just have the travel option on your home plan. It's usually $10, $15 a day to use your phone roaming. And sometimes that works. Hopefully it works. And that would be a good option. The other option is, I haven't used it, but other people have. I'm going to be using this when I am traveling home to Canada next month, is Airalo. It's an eSIM. So if your phone is a newer phone, then you can probably use an eSIM. And apparently it does work in China, which is great. You can get SIM cards at the airport. It's just a little bit more difficult than other places because you need to like register it with your passport, and I don't know, it's just like an extra step, but you can do that at the airport. If you're traveling to China, you need a VPN app on your phone. This is where things get confusing, because when I lived in Shanghai in 2018, I used ExpressVPN. And I feel like that's really advertised a lot of places. And so people just assume like, oh, that would be good. And even if you look up online, you might find ExpressVPN options. And you're like, oh, look, people, like I used it. So I would have said that in 2018. Be like, okay, great. It doesn't work now. So oftentimes things change. One VPN works, one doesn't. There's a bunch of really popular VPNs that don't work here in China. So the one that I'm using right now is Astral, which is a little bit expensive. You could also do a 7-day free trial if you're only coming for 7 days. Or I think the cheaper option that people also use is called Let's VPN. So those are the two that I know people use right now. Those are, I think, the only two that I know that people reliably use. Let's VPN and Astral. Important to think about. Do you want to take out some cash before you come here? Maybe. You might want to. If you Google it, you might read some articles saying that cash is obsolete in China, which for me, in my daily life, I think that's definitely true. However, cash is required to be accepted everywhere, and tourists do still have cash. So you can still use cash. You don't have to use Alipay. Some places might not really be equipped to help you with cash. They might not have change. Things like this. Also, a MasterCard or a credit card, always good to have when you're traveling. I think that's a key staple to traveling, is having a credit card. Obviously, major credit cards, Visa, MasterCard, all of your hotels, major places are all going to accept credit card as well. Do as I say, not as I do. Because when I was writing down specific ideas and things that I needed to talk about in this video, I was talking about when to travel in China. And the key point in this is do not come to China during Golden Week or Chinese New Year. Keep in mind that these are lunar holidays, which means that they change when they are every year. Because in my mind, I always think of the first Golden Week that I ever experienced was the first week of October when I was in Shanghai. So this year, this whole time, I've had in my brain that it's the first week of October. But this year, it's mid-September. And Brielle is literally coming to visit me a couple days after the Golden Week holiday, which I'm just crossing my fingers that that's going to be okay. People are off the whole week. So it's going to be busy in that first weekend that she's here, but also the timing of it kind of just had to work out that way. But I'm like, no, I'm not even taking my own advice. Basically, just all of the major tourist attractions during that time, because that's when everyone else is on vacation, is so busy. If you see videos of the Great Wall of China during that time, it's wall-to-wall people. You kind of can't even walk and enjoy. Whereas hopefully when we go, which is going to be the week after, hopefully it's going to be pretty much empty and we kind of will have places to ourselves. But that first weekend is going to be really busy for us. And I'm going to find an alternate schedule, which maybe I'll probably make a video of what we end up doing so I can let you know what the best itinerary is or things that I recommend to do in Beijing. I think that would be fun. Chinese New Year, if you're looking to travel during that time and you look up the dates, so the dates of the actual holiday, it spans so much more time than that. So it's basically a whole month where families are traveling and festivities are going on, and lots of smaller places even are closed completely because they are also on vacation for Chinese New Year. So it's kind of a whole month-long thing that affects when things are open and how busy things are. Good to know. I would also recommend traveling in China in either spring or autumn, because that's when the weather is nice. That's just the most ideal time. It's hot right now. It is July. And there are a lot of people, obviously, who come to visit in the first week of July, second week of July, anytime in July and August, because that's when people are off work and that's when people are available to come and have their vacation and travel. And so many of my friends have had family visiting this month. But me from Canada, I just can't even imagine me having friends and family visit during this time and having to take them, because all of the really touristy things, especially in Beijing, are all outdoors. You're at the Great Wall, you're at the Temple of Heaven, the Summer Palace, everything is completely outdoors. And for me, it is too hot. We had some of our hottest days so far, last week, and the feels like temperature was up to 50 degrees Celsius. It's daily temperatures of maybe between 35 to 45, but the feels like goes up to 50. That was for maybe 4 or 5 days, and then it kind of went back down after that. But for me, it's just way, way, way too hot. In the winter, also because I'm Canadian, this probably reflects differently if you're from different places with different climates. Winter, I prefer. My sister visited me over Christmas last year, and even that week over Christmas, we were trying to go do all the touristy things, and we still did all the touristy things. We went on a tour to Tiananmen Square and the Forbidden City, which I had never been to before, and I'm going to tell you about that tour because I really, really enjoyed it and would highly recommend it. It was kind of almost too cold to really enjoy because I think it was maybe 4 hours all outside, and every day that we went out to do things, which we did, I wore 2 layers of pants and a really fluffy sweater and my winter jacket and just everything, just really, really layered to go out, which it wasn't too cold for us, but it was verging on too cold. So I wouldn't necessarily recommend that coldest time, which is usually December, maybe January a little bit. So to the tours. So I think in Beijing, there's really only the one thing that you need to book in advance. You cannot book on the day. Hello, Patchel. Come cuddle with me. You guys have been so crazy. If you've been hearing things, it's because Patchel has been crazy. We're matching today, Patchel. Look, black and white. Come sit with me. Forbidden City, Tiananmen Square, that is one tour, one thing by itself. I really recommend that you have to book in advance to do it because it's just so busy and they do sell out and they only have a limited number of tickets. And then B, if you go by yourself, you're kind of just walking around in just really big open spaces and you don't necessarily know what you're looking at or what you're seeing. And having a guide that's can speak and explain things and tell you all about the history of what you're seeing, I think is really key to enjoying that experience. So we booked on a site called GetYourGuide, which I really recommend. It was a super great site, super great tour. Yeah, I don't know, just really, really good. I would recommend it. Also, I think if you're going to visit the Great Wall of China, you probably want to book a driver. You can book and reserve a Didi to take you, but the thing that I worry about Didis when you're taking a ride that's so far, the drive could be 2 hours, is that if you took a Didi there and then they left, you might not have a ride home, and depending what section of the Great Wall you're at, there may or may not be taxis waiting for you. So Brielle and I are going to go to the Mutianyu section of the Great Wall, which is the first section of the Great Wall that I ever visited when I went to the Great Wall, and it's the most touristy, I think. The Badaling section is also really touristy, but Mutianyu is just great because it has the slide down, which is really fun. So we're going to do that section. We're also going to go to it's like a dinner and a show that I haven't gone to before, and I'm really excited to go try that experience. So I will let you know and update you about our Beijing itinerary and what we did, because I think I've worked out kind of like the best itinerary. So I think we're going to save that for another video, talk a little bit about my recommendations of places that you should visit on your trip to China. Thank you so much for watching this video. I would appreciate your feedback on my nice new setup, and I think we're gonna hopefully have some more videos like this, as well as a review and opinions about Brielle's trip here and the itinerary that I work out. I like this setup. I think it's fun. I think let's try and do more like this. So if there's something specific that you want to hear me talk about, please let me know, and we will do that. Thank you!